It's simply known as the greatest 2 minutes in sports. From the iconic Twin Spires to the Mint Juleps and my old Kentucky home. And who can forget those crazy hats? This marks the 145th Run for the Roses and a place in history. And now it's Inside the Derby, presented by ExpressBet. Welcome, everybody. I've got two horse racing experts right alongside that we're going to rely on for the next hour. We're also going to be hearing from experts from ExpressBet, along with Eddie Olczyk, who is on the scene for NBC Sports at Churchill Downs. Vinny Magliulo, Vicent Vinny, we call him. He, of course, is right here, part of Gone Gaming at the South Point, the tip of the strip in Las Vegas. And the longtime Wynn Casino oddsmaker, John Avello, who is now the head guy at DraftKings. Welcome, because both of these gentlemen, this is one of their favorite events of the year, the Kentucky Derby, Vinny.
Brent, I have to tell you, first Derby I bet, I was 8 years old. My Uncle Tony put it in for me. Lucky Debonair won the race. Vicent Vinny did not have Lucky Debonair, but I was hooked. And, you know, Brent, from our side of the counter, this is as enjoyable as any other event that we book, whether it's the Super Bowl, March Madness, the World Series, the Stanley Cup, the NBA playoffs, everything. The Derby ranks right up there with one of the great events on the national scene and for us behind the counter as well.
I am really excited for this week to come. I've been through many events, many years, enjoy them all, March Madness, the Super Bowl, everything that we do at booking in the business. But I just look forward to this race every year. Being involved in the Future Book for so many years, knowing these horses leading up to the race, seeing how some of them have fallen off, some of them have made that path to get there for 6-7 months and, without injury. It's a joyful time for me when race day comes. Now, sometimes a painful time when the race is over, but it's a joyful time leading up to it.
Johnny and Vinny, we're lucky to be joined by Jeff Siegel. He's the ExpressBet TV racing analyst. I'm sure those of you who follow horse racing have heard him many a time. Jeff, welcome to Inside the Derby, presented by your very own ExpressBet. My friend, how are you doing, and how are you feeling leading up to the Kentucky Derby?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me on. This is fun. It's a great time of the year for us.
And I'm sure, Jeff, you have followed the key prep races leading up to this year's Kentucky Derby. Tell us about some of the races that you have really focused on and how you've selected some of your horses.
Well, I think the prep races, of course, usually take place within 3 to 4 weeks, the major prep races, anyway, of the Derby. And this year, I thought the strongest Derby prep was the Arkansas Derby. That was the race that was won by Omaha Beach over Improbable. Those two horses were well clear of everybody else. And I thought from a visual standpoint and the depth of that field, I thought those two horses ran extremely well. And I thought that was the toughest race going in, and coming out and evaluating it, I think it still is. I thought the Santa Anita Derby was very good as well. I think these two prep races are head and shoulders above the others. Florida Derby was a good race, but it was dominated with a kind of a false pace on the front end by a horse who's undefeated, who's pretty good. That's Maximum Security. The Wood was a lesser race, the Wood Memorial. That's the fourth-rated prep, and then the Bluegrass number 5. But I thought the Arkansas Derby and the Santa Anita Derby, I think that those two races are going to produce the major players on Saturday.
Jeff, I have to ask you, why are we having and enjoying, in some cases, such a string of favorites winning the Kentucky Derby? When I go back to when we first covered it back in Chicago as a newspaper man back in the early 60s, the long shots were prevailing. But what's gone on here that it has switched for the favorites at the Kentucky Derby, Jeff?
Well, you're right about that. Between 1980 and 1999, 20 years of the Derby, not one favorite won. I mean, it was like you'd get the favorite. You didn't even want to be the favorite because the streak was so blatant. And now, since the year 2000, I think there have been 9 Derby winners, the last 6 in a row. And I think it's a combination of there's a lot of factors. Of course, they went to this point system in 2013 where you would have to qualify for the Derby on points in big races rather than flat purse earnings, which eliminates some of these real fast 2-year-olds who earned a lot of money last year in races that really didn't have much impact on the Derby, but they got into the field because they had the money. Well, now you have to do it this year, and you have to do it in the big prep. So I think what we have is we've lost a lot of these speed horses that kind of throw a monkey wrench into the pace scenario, and you get some strange results when the pace is really fast, and you get horses that are stopping. And now it's different. Now you've got form that has been established really recently. As a matter of fact, the last 7 winners of the Kentucky Derby entered the race off a 2-race winning streak. So the form is much more solid. It's much more dependable. And nowadays, you can watch all these races on the Internet. I mean, you can really do a very, very good job of evaluating the races, not just by form, but by actually watching them. So I think the information is out there, and the workouts. You can watch all the workouts as well. So the information's out there for everybody to see, and there's some pretty sharp guys out there who can evaluate, and I think that's one of the reasons why the favorites have done so well.
Hey, Jeff, just to go back to one other point about the prep races, too. In your opinion, it's not just about winning those prep races. It's about how the horses fared and where they finished, too. I mean, a horse like Improbable, who finished second in the race you cited, the Arkansas Derby, still pay attention to that, too. It's not just about winning those races, right?
Right. Exactly. I think if you have to run well. You just have to run well. In fact, 32 out of the last 35 Kentucky Derby winners finished in the money or won their previous start. So if you're not in the frame, if you're not 1-2, you're probably not going to run well in the Kentucky Derby. But you don't have to win it, although recently you've had to win it. But I think, yeah. I mean, when I don't hold it against Improbable that he didn't beat Omaha Beach, because Omaha Beach, I think, is the best 3-year-old in the country. He was 5 lengths clear of everybody else, was Improbable. And if this is his third start off a layoff for Bob Baffert, could he produce a forward move and improve? Sure he can. He's a contender, a major contender. But you want to see a good recent last race, I think. Otherwise, you're going to be up against it.
Jeff, a whole lot of folks are interested in trifectas, superfectas. If I was to ask you which 5 or 6 horses should they consider adding in their group of exotics, which horses would you give us for this year's Kentucky Derby?
Well, I would key Omaha Beach on top. I mean, I'm going to either sink or swim, and based on the weather, they'll probably be sinking. But on Saturday, I like Omaha Beach to win. But the contenders, you've got to look at Bob Baffert's horses, and he's got 3 in there. Game Winner, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at Churchill Downs. He has never been on an off track, but he's got a pedigree that would suggest that he will like it. Then you have Improbable, who just ran second to Omaha Beach, has trained very well since that race in Arkansas, and I think he's going to run his best race. The lightly raced Roadster, who beat Game Winner in the Santa Anita Derby, he too is a Bob Baffert horse. I mean, my first 4 horses are all California horses. Now, I live in California. I'm kind of a California apologist, but when it comes to gambling, I really definitely try to look at it, objectively. So I have Omaha Beach, Game Winner, Improbable, Roadster, and then the 5th horse is the Florida Derby winner, Maximum Security. He is an undefeated colt. He is a front runner. His buyer speed figures are strong. He looks like the controlling speed. He has handled an off track. He's got issues, and they can't really train him that hard, but I think Maximum Security is going to be the controlling speed, and if he can take this field a long way. I mean, he's a pretty darn good colt, and he's 10-1. He's probably my best long shot. There's a couple others in there that you may want to, if you want to go a little deeper. By my standards, won the Louisiana Derby. He's 20-1. He has certainly a look at it as well. And Vekoma, who won the Bluegrass Stakes, is also 20-1. Lightly raced colt by Candy Ride. Looks like he'll handle the off track as well. But for my wagering strategies, I'm going to go with Omaha Beach, and hopefully he can get me home.
All right, Jeff Siegel, the ExpressBet TV racing analyst. You've heard him many a time. Jeff, thank you so much for being with us here at VSiN, my friend. And I want to remind
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I want to remind everybody that you can still go to expressbet.com and get their Kentucky Derby guide. You cannot be without it. You've heard from everybody that it is going to be a wet day at Churchill Downs. Therefore, you need to look back into the breeding. Frequently, that's where you can find the 3-year-olds who can do the best running on an off track. We'll be right back. It's Inside the Derby, presented by ExpressBet. You can listen to VSiN on SiriusXM Channel 204 and follow us online at vsin.com and on Twitter at VSiN Live.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
Attention serious horse players, this is a pop-up edition of the Ron Flatter Mini Racing Pod, the Kentucky Derby preview with Patrick McQuiggan.
It's such a fantastic race. Think about it. It's 144 years of history of this race. I get excited for this time of year, the Kentucky Derby.
Dave Tooley.
We're all trying to find the winner here, but trying to build those exotic tickets are just as important because the payoffs are always huge just because of all the mathematical possibilities with the 20-horse field.
Vinny Magliulo.
There's great value. Everybody gets involved. It could be the casual fan to the more sophisticated fan. And the reason that it has that appeal is because of the size of the field.
The four of us will go through all 20 horses in the Derby field, one by one, and you can hear it right now. The pop-up edition of the Ron Flatter Racing Pod, available through Apple, Google, Stitcher, and at vsin.com/podcasts. Sponsored by ExpressBet.
Taming the briar patch, mowing the lawn, or trimming Yeti, whatever you call it. It's about time we all talked about manscaping. 9 out of 10 women of all ages prefer their guy manscaped. But you gotta have the right tools for the jewels. Pop over to manscaped.com. Check out their perfect package, the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0. That was a smash hit on Shark Tank. It features the Lawn Mower, a precision trimmer engineered for below-the-waist grooming. Its skin-safe technology means no more accidental nicks and burns. Check out the Lawn Mower and the amazing grooming and hygiene products that come with your perfect package. Get 20% off plus free shipping today. Visit manscaped.com. Use the promo code BETS. Again, use promo code BETS at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
Welcome back to Inside the Derby and a look at one of the American sports treasures, the Kentucky Derby, presented by VSiN and ExpressBet. Ah, yes, there are so many terrific observers of the Kentucky Derby and the lead up to it, and we have from ExpressBet Jeremy Plonk, who we have talked to earlier on My Guys in the Desert, and Jeremy's analysis of this 3-year-old field is just outstanding. Jeremy, welcome. You know, Jeremy, obviously this is the one time of the year when everybody wants to bet on a horse race, okay? There are millions of people who don't bet on any other race except the Kentucky Derby. So tell me about the trainers and the jockeys that part of the considerable public adding to these huge pools. Who should they be following? Who should they be interested in? Because I've always thought if you don't follow horse racing, at least go to the handlers. And there you can find at least your best chances to cash a ticket. Where would you lead that part of the betting public for the Kentucky Derby, Jeremy?
Well, they're going to be drawn to Bob Baffert. You know, he's got that Hollywood lifestyle, and he's kind of the face of horse racing. And why not, right? He's won more Triple Crown races than any trainer alive. He's won the Kentucky Derby 5 times, just one off the great Ben Jones record of 6 that he could get this year. And Baffert's got 3 chances in this race. Not 1, not 2, but 3. And they're all horses are going to be in single-digit odds, less than 10-1. You've got Improbable coming off a second in the Arkansas Derby, and you've got the 1-2 finishers of the Santa Anita Derby. Roadster, his most lightly raced of the horses, and Game Winner, last year's 2-year-old champion. So Bob's got a little bit of everything. He's got a consistent traveler in Improbable. He's got the upstart and the rising player in Roadster, and he's got the proven commodity in the 2-year-old champion in Game Winner. He's got a little something for everybody. Now, the trick becomes they're not coupled in the betting anymore in this era, so they're all 3 separate wagering interests. How will the Bob Baffert money be spread out over 3 horses? It's a very intriguing part of this year's Kentucky Derby betting, and we'll see how it goes. Baffert lost his jockeys on 2 of the 3, which I think is fascinating. Last year, Mike Smith rode Justified to win the Triple Crown for Bob Baffert, and he jumped off of Baffert's horse Roadster, the Santa Anita Derby winner, to ride Omaha Beach. You talk about loyalty in this world. You know, it would be like Belichick and Brady breaking up the next year and going with somebody else. I mean, that's the way this game goes with the human connections. Mike Smith, the veteran rider in his 50s now. Only Bill Shoemaker has won the Kentucky Derby older than Mike Smith, but Mike's not slowing down. I think he's probably the most noticeable rider in a game that honestly lacks a face. There's not a jockey around anymore who will strictly take money on the tote board in a race like the Kentucky Derby. Calvin Burrell was like that in the 2000s when he got on his run, winning a couple of them. But there's no jockey who's going to influence the tote board too much anymore. But Baffert definitely will on the trainer side of things.
Jeremy, Mike Smith told our Ron Flatter why he decided to ride Omaha Beach. Give it a listen.
3 big reasons. The first being that in talking to Bob, he said, you know, just keep our relationship out of it. You make the choice on what you really feel at the moment. He said, we're good no matter what. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. And it was like a ping pong game, man. I just kept going back and forth, and that's how hard it was. 2 of the deciding factors after that was the fact that Omaha Beach beat 2 of the horses that would probably be favored if he hadn't beat them, you know, going into the Derby, which is Game Winner and Improbable, and one of them still might be. Another is he seems to be the now horse that has the right kind of style if all goes well in the Derby. He jumps extremely quick, has a high cruising speed, but yet he'll turn off if you need him to, so he should get you where you need to be, you know, as far as position goes early on in the race.
Well, there we have it, Jeremy, and it sounds like he really ran the decision through Bob Baffert because Baffert has meant so much to Smith's bottom line, and obviously Baffert said, "Go ahead if that's the horse you want to choose," right?
Well, it sounds good until he beats him, right? I don't know. I don't know how much Bob's going to like it. I mean, if it comes down to a stretch run, you got the Baffert trio across the track, and they're trying to get to Omaha Beach, and it's a nose difference. Bob Baffert's lost the Kentucky Derby by a nose. His very first Derby back in 1996, Grindstone for D. Wade Lucas beat him by a nose when he had a horse named Cavalier. Nobody knew who Bob Baffert was then. The next year he won with Silver Charm, and it's been, you know, a 22-year roller coaster, wonderful ride for him ever since. But if he loses by a nose to Mike Smith, he'll say, boy, I wish I had the Hall of Famer on my side. You know, look, Baffert got good riders for his horses. No shame in that. And, you know, Smith's decision to go to Omaha Beach, you know, makes sense. Omaha Beach has won 3 in a row. What we've seen is 6 straight Kentucky Derby winners, Brent, have come in with at least a 3-race winning streak. You've got to be a hot hand to win this race in the modern era. 3 wins in a row. We've seen 8 in a row exit a win, and 7 in a row have been undefeated as 3-year-olds, never losing a race as a 3-year-old coming into the Kentucky Derby. So you have got to play the hot hand. Now, Roadster was just as hot, and that was Smith's option. So, you know, the only horses in this race with the 3-race win streaks, you're looking at Roadster, you're looking at Maximum Security, you're looking at Tacitus, and Omaha Beach. It's a limited cast. When you talk about these really hot horses this year, those are the main players.
Jeremy, the points about the jockeys are important because we know this is the first time these horses are going to be in this type of setting. But there's several jockeys in this race that have never raced in this in the Kentucky Derby. How does that enter into your thinking in the handicapping?
Well, if you get the right trip, if you get that beautiful trip, an inexperienced rider is not a hindrance in the Kentucky Derby. Think Stuart Elliott on the Great Smarty Jones back in 2004. Stuart was just a journeyman veteran rider, but he had never been on a stage like this. But he got a trip where he was able to sit second and third the whole way around the track, had the best horse, just went around Lionheart at the top of the stretch and went on to history. That was great for him. But the very next year, you had a rookie on the horse to beat in a Fleet Alex, and that rider was Jeremy Rose. He had a horrible trip. He moved too soon in the race. Everybody criticized Jeremy Rose for not timing the move right. So if you have a horse who comes from behind and has a lot more work to do, an inexperienced rider is a problem. If you have a horse who gets up into the race and there's not many decisions to make, then Stuart Elliott can take a horse through the Kentucky Derby. The great thing about fans and our assessment of jockeys, think of Jeremy Rose. He was the most maligned rider in America in 2005 after a Fleet Alex got beat. 2 weeks later at the Preakness, if you remember that one, that's where Fleet Alex and Scrappy T bumped each other at the top of the stretch, stumbled. Jeremy Rose, the ex-high school wrestler, almost fell off the horse, got back up in his balance, and went on to win in probably the greatest ride we've ever seen in the Triple Crown race and such athleticism. He went from GOAT to hero in 2 weeks, and that's the kind of life these riders live.
Jeremy, it is time, those of us who are searching for other horses to put with Omaha Beach in this year's Kentucky Derby, 5 or 6 that, a once a year better like me should consider for the trifecta today.
Maximum Security for sure. The ExpressBet Florida Derby winner was fantastic in Florida. He's never been beaten. This will be the toughest test of his career. There's a lot of questions about his trainer, Jason Service, the brother of John Service, of Smarty Jones fame. But I think Maximum Security is a horse who's going to be up near the front, and he's going to be very tough. Roadster for Bob Baffert. I think that's the best of the Bob Baffert threesome. And I think Tacitus for Bill Mott, and the other Bill Mott horse, the long shot in here, would be the outside runner from the 20-hole, who's going to be coming maybe last to somewhere on the board in Country House. So I think Omaha Beach, Maximum Security, Roadster, Tacitus, and Country House is your big bopper. If you're trying to get a horse in the top 3 for the trifecta or the top 4 to bet a superfecta, if there's going to be a big price in it, for me, Country House would be the way I lean.
Jeremy Plonk of ExpressBet. Jeremy, thank you so much, my friend. I look forward to cashing my ticket. You know what I mean?
Hey, get behind me in line, buddy.
Yes, the experts from ExpressBet, Vinny and John, you can't beat them, and they're sponsoring a trip to Las Vegas. And as you know, if you go to expressbet.com and use the promo code Brent200 up there, you will have a $200 sign-up bonus from ExpressBet. Now, our grand prize winner will be awarded a 2-night stay at the South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas and an expense voucher of $750. The 2-night stay will be available during the week before the Preakness, leg number 2 of the Triple Crown, and the winner will be drawn from the players who have used that sign-up promotion code. Go to expressbet.com, use Brent200. You get an immediate $200 bonus. Use it on the Kentucky Derby because you need to bet that $200 within 30 days, and the $200 bonus will be paid within 3 days of your betting $200. The winner will be our guest on My Guys in the Desert during the week of the Preakness here at the South Point at the tip of the Strip, and we'll be right back. It's Inside the Derby, presented by ExpressBet. You can listen to VSiN on SiriusXM Channel 204 and follow us online at vsin.com and on Twitter at VSiN Live.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
If you're a loyal follower of VEASAN, it's time to take the next step. Sign up for VEASAN's free daily newsletter. You'll get an email every single morning with news, analysis, and betting resources to help you improve your handicapping. Dave Tooley tracks the ATS results from the night before. Jeff Fogel offers insights on how to read the ups and downs of the sports betting markets so you know what the sharp bettors are doing. Receive the daily betting schedules from the South Point Sportsbook with games listed in official Nevada rotation order. Watch highlights from VEASAN shows, plus learn about special offers and discounts from VEASAN. That's all for free. That's all in VEASAN's daily newsletter. Sign up at VEASAN.com/newsletter. That's VEASAN.com/newsletter. It's kind of like getting a postcard right here from your friends in Las Vegas.
You know, some moms are into flowers, chocolates, and bears for Mother's Day. That's fine for some moms. But there are other moms who are into cool, practical Mother's Day gifts, especially gifts that make their life easier. If that sounds like the mom in your life, she will love getting Blink security cameras for Mother's Day. Seriously, now, this is a great gift, especially now during Blink's huge Mother's Day sale. Blink motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years, and no matter where you are, Blink's live feed option lets you monitor your home, check in on children and pets from anywhere from your Blink smartphone app. No contracts, totally affordable. And now through Mother's Day, May 12th, all indoor Blink cameras and systems are 20% off. You heard it right. 20% off. Home security just got a whole lot easier. Get the perfect Mom's Day gift at blinkprotect.com/sale. blinkprotect.com/sale.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
Welcome back to Inside the Derby and a look at one of the American sports treasures, the Kentucky Derby, presented by VEASAN and ExpressBet. All right, everybody, let's get this party started. Vinny Magliulo and John Avello, they've got strong opinions of their own. Vinny, our experts from ExpressBet, I think they've been on your horses here.
Spying on me. My goodness gracious. Totally unscripted. Right? Listen, again, we've talked about it, even if it gets a little chalky, because of the liquidity in this pool. And Brent, you hit it on a key point. Everybody gets involved in the Derby. Everybody, whether you're an experienced bettor or the casual fan. And the experienced bettors like it because of the casual fans getting involved in it. So there is some liquidity even with the favorites. I know it's a little it's the auxiliary gate. I'm going to get a little chalky here. I like Game Winner and Omaha Beach on top. I'm going to throw in a couple of other horses to go with them. Improbable. I like Tacitus. Hearing more and more about Maximum Security from some people with very respected opinions, and I'm going to throw in Maximum Security.
Let me stop you right there.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Watchmaker of the
All
Daily
right.
Racing Form had this to say about the winner of the Florida Derby. In his case, I'm taking the approach that, like Las Vegas, what happens at Gulfstream often stays at Gulfstream. Watchmaker has some great...
Never bashful, that Watchmaker. So,
Johnny, he has some great lines, and that is one of the better lines about when you don't like a horse. Are you sticking with the chalk too, Johnny? I mean, Vinny and I are both liking the chalk here.
Well, if you like favorites, I guess this is what's wrong with this horse? He's got 2 excellent races leading up. Hall of Famer trainer, Hall of Fame jock, best numbers. When I say best numbers, I looked at the Ragusan sheets. I looked at the Thoroughbred sheets. He's got the best numbers on both. Looks like his next move should be still continue to move forward. No distance limitations. Great post position. Has a race on off track. Won it. I mean, there's nothing wrong there to pick. But I'm not going with him in the win spot. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not going with him in a win spot. Because the horse game winner as a 2-year-old was undefeated. He had to go to running the Rebel at Oaklawn Park, a race that they really didn't want to send him to. So I think it screwed up the road map a little. Then he ran at Santa Anita in the Santa Anita Derby. He ran second there also. I don't think he got a great ride by Rosario. I think this horse has so much more in the tank. My concern is the track conditions because he's never run on a wet track. But I think he's as good as Omaha Beach. He's going to be twice the price of Omaha Beach, and that's where I'm looking on the top spot.
So there we have game winner, and let us check in with another of our Express Bet experts. And this is Millie Ball on the scene, former exercise writer, and she can really tell us about what a horse looks like getting ready to race. Millie, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
It's great. It's great having you with us, Vinny Maiulo, John Avello riding along. So let me ask you this, since you were an exercise writer, and I've often wondered this. When you're out working a horse out a few days before a race, or you've been around it in the barn, can you really tell when a horse is ready for a big race, or is it just like the rest of us, take your best shot?
You have a huge advantage if you're actually the person on top of the horse. And you're used to the horse. You know the horse well. You can really tell when they're getting ready, when they're, as I like to call it, ripe for their race, just from their behavior, their attitude, the way they're moving over the track. From a visual aspect, I think there are a lot of signs that you can see. I think the most important thing is you want to see that a horse is coming into that race looking really happy and really healthy. And by healthy, I mean a really, confident stride. You can tell the horse is really handling the surface and has confidence with the placement of his feet, really reaching out. Ears pinned back maybe if he's in company at the very end of the work and he's being asked to give a little bit more. I think the level of energy that you see is very important, that you see the same level of energy and rhythm at the end of the work that you do at the very beginning of the work. And the gallop outs to me are always important. I want to see a positive reaction from the horse when the rider asks them to gallop out. I want them to say, to see that the horse is saying, sure, I'll give you more. You're asking me for more. I'm going to reach out and give you more for as long as you want me to, as opposed to the reaction of, ears pinned back and the stride starting to shorten and the horse really wanting to shut it down after the wire.
So, Millie, which of the horses at Churchill Downs have impressed you with their workouts so far?
I think By My Standards has really impressed me. Now, I'm not saying that he can win going 1.5 miles, or even 1.25 miles of this Derby distance, but I do think that, he is coming into the race indicating that he's going to run the race of his life. Other horses that I think have looked very good in there I think Tacitus is the horse to me that has shown the most growth from watching his work from the beginning of the season and even his first race to his second race and therefore after. He's just a horse to me that really the light bulb has gone on. He's figured out what he's supposed to be doing. He's much more professional. He was very green early on. And I'm just seeing a huge improvement from him. So I'm excited to see Tacitus run as well.
You saw the horses come to Churchill. You've watched them. And then the day of the race, when they hit the track, and I know you have a great feel of an eye for horses once, 10, 15 minutes before the race. Will you pick out things that'll discourage you at that point from, making a play, or you can tell that this may not be their day?
Absolutely. I think it's really important to from the minute they bring them over into the paddock there, to watch their behavior, watch how they're handling being saddled. Are they kicking the back of the stall? Are they, appearing to be a little bit edgy and sort of out of control a little bit? Do they need two handlers versus one handler? Those sorts of things, I think, signs are really important. And then watch when they get out onto the track. Are they cool, calm, and relaxed? I remember watching, what comes to mind is Omaha Beach when he ran in the Rebel Stakes. If you remember, he just went out there and stood still and looked around at the crowd and was just, completely relaxed. And you could just tell he had his head in the right place. And then he went and ran so well. But I think it's very important to see, are they messing around a little bit with the pony? Are they trying to, push the pony around a little bit? This nervous energy that they have. I want to see a horse that just looks confident and sharp, not nervous. I don't want to see any sweating going on. That's the sort of behavior. And then all the way up to the gate, I was a little concerned with the way, for example, Improbable behaved when he shipped back to Arkansas and how he was schooling the gate. That is going to be a concern for me, and I'm going to be watching him closely on Derby Day to see if he shows any of those signs again.
Millie, so I like to add some horses to my my try box, Superfecta. Which horses would you recommend that I do not, under any circumstance, leave out of my exotics?
Do not leave any of the Baffert horses out. I really think that all three of them had a legitimate chance. I think Game Winner and Roadster for the distance. I think Improbable, I watched his breeze over the Churchill surface, and I think he's as good as he has been this season. He's got so much room to grow, that horse, that I think he could step forward. So I would use all those three, and I absolutely would not leave Tacitus off as well. His pedigree for the 1.25 miles, I think is arguably the best pedigree in the field. I've loved, as I mentioned earlier, the growth I've seen from him. He seems to be able to, sit a tactical trip. I want to make sure that all the horses I pick are horses that can be tactical. They can get that good early position, whether they're in the first or mid-flight. I want to see that. Omaha Beach, he has trained sensationally all season. He got to Churchill. He's trained beautifully there at Churchill as well. If I had any knocks against Omaha Beach, it would be that this is going to be the fourth race, and he ran so big last time out. I wonder whether that might have been his Derby race. And the distance for him, I didn't see him still carrying any energy or having energy left at the wire in the Arkansas Derby. To me, he had given 100% when he hit the wire in the Arkansas Derby. So that extra, eighth of a mile is the concerner for me with Omaha Beach.
Thank you so much, Millie, for your insight. We really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And the best of luck to the three of you.
Yeah, because cashing tickets is what it's all about, Millie.
Absolutely.
So, Vinny and John, that casts the first doubt on Omaha Beach that we really had, and it comes down to a critical factor in the Kentucky Derby, the distance.
Mm-hmm. The distance, Brent, is key. Breeding, you want to pay attention to breeding and who has excelled. That's why when we talked earlier about how a horse finished, didn't necessarily finish on the front end of a previous race, but were they closing and how close were they? And does an extra furlong get them over the top?
And Johnny, as you note from the form over there, this horse was bred to run on grass. And then after failing a couple of times, the joke is, by the trainer, the horse said to me, You run on the grass. I prefer to run on the dirt. So Omaha Beach has been on the dirt ever since.
He has a lot of races. I will say that. Probably more than anyone in the race, or at least close to it. And on the grass, he actually ran pretty good. He didn't win, but he was close, like a third and 2 seconds. But what Millie said was kind of interesting is that he emptied the tank in the Arkansas Derby. Now, of course, that was back on April 13th, so there is time for, recovery period. But, that's why sometimes horse players will say, a horse will bounce. I don't see Omaha Beach bouncing. I mean, I don't see that. But I can understand that maybe if it's a duel down the stretch, maybe he doesn't have that little extra that somebody else may have who hasn't exerted himself up to this point. But, hey, he still he checks the boxes on still 8 out of 9, Brent. So, can't discard him.
Yeah, exactly, especially if it comes up and off track. We have yet to hear from Eddie Olczyk. Coming up. It's Inside the Derby, presented by ExpressBet. You can listen to VSiN on SiriusXM Channel 204 and follow us online at vsin.com and on Twitter at VSiN Live.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
This Mom for the Win moment is brought to you by The Bouqs, where the Mother's Day flowers your mom deserves are 20% off. I will never forget the day that I I actually stole a maid's car and drove it around the blocks. And of course, my mother learned about it. But she just pointed out that I was only 13 years old, and please don't ever do that again. And she never told my father. I have never, ever forgotten that moment. And so now you should remember your mom on Mother's Day. Bouqs. Send the Mom's Day flowers your mom deserves from the Bouqs. Order today. Get an extra 20% off when you enter Brent, B-R-E-N-T. That is Bouqs, BOUQS.com. Enter Brent to save an extra 20% off. Your mom deserves the best. Bouqs.com.
Check out the VSiN store for the latest and greatest in sports betting fashion. We have more than 40 shirt designs, including our most popular one, Cash and Tickets is what it's all about. Then there's the latest addition to the VSiN store, I Fade Mr. Poison. You'll find VSiN shirts and hats for any occasion, and they're all made to order so you can find the right design, color, and size that's perfect for you. Are you recovering from a bad beat? Well, we have a shirt that'll make you look a whole lot better than you feel. Burned by some late scoring? Maybe you should wear this shirt as a reminder. It's not under until it's over. And if you're a fan of a particular VSiN show, we've got a shirt for you too. You'll find VSiN hats and even VSiN coffee mugs, all in our online store. Go to vsin.com/store and order now. That's vsin.com/store.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
Welcome back to Inside the Derby and a look at one of the American sports treasures, the Kentucky Derby, presented by VSiN and ExpressBet. It is now time for Eddie Olczyk, the real expert. We're going to be on the scene of the running of the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs. Well, as you know, Eddie, ExpressBet has been running this great promotion involving you, but also those of us who work for VSiN out here in Las Vegas. And if they use the promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent, they've got $200 to play with, and they can use it on the Kentucky Derby. So here at VSiN, what would Eddie Olczyk do with the bonus of $200? Where would he use it? Let's say it's dry. Let's say maybe slightly wet, but not a completely off track, okay? So pretty good going. We know that the track at Churchill Downs drains very well. Where would Eddie Olczyk put his $200?
Yeah, I think if there's any moisture in the track, if it is off at all, I find it very difficult for anybody to take down Omaha Beach, Brent. He is the favorite, and I compare Omaha Beach to Exaggerator of a couple of years ago, where people may remember Exaggerator moving way up on an off track. Like I'm saying, 5 lengths, 10 lengths better on an off track. And I think Omaha Beach is very similar. If there is the moisture in the track, Omaha Beach is going to get my money in a lot of gimmicks. For the record, I got Roadster back in February at 30-1 to win the Derby. I got Roadster at 16-1 in March. He'll probably end up going off at 7-ish, 8-1. I'm probably not going to bet him to win if it's a fast track, but he certainly will get a lot of my money when it comes to the gimmicks. So when it comes to the win bet, Brent, and I know I'm hedging here, but as you know, being a horse player and handicappers out there, the track dictates a lot of decisions that are made. And, I don't know if Roadster can get up and down on a wet surface, but I know Omaha Beach can.
Eddie, talk a little bit about your approach with a race of this magnitude, 20 horses, unlike any other race in terms of the setting and the distance, all the variables that come into play here. Do you start by eliminating horses before you start saying, this is who I'm going to go with?
That part of it, Vinny, where I start looking at it and going, nah, you know what? I can't use this horse. I can't use this horse. Yeah, maybe. I can't. No, definitely a throw out. And then all of a sudden now you're at about 12 horses. And I honestly believe is that all things being equal, I think I could make a case probably for 7 or 8 horses on a fast track. As I said earlier to Brent, Vinny, if it's an off track, I don't think they could beat Omaha Beach on an off track. I really don't. And what's he going to go off at? Is he going to be 9-2? Is he going to be 7-2 if it ends up coming up sloppy? I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting that $200 Brent was offering up on the nose of Omaha Beach at 7-2 or 9-2 and walk out of there with $940 or $1,100. So, but that's kind of the process of elimination that I like to go at. And as you know, Vinny, sometimes you can handicap and you can hit it right out of the park. I was lucky enough to do that last year where I liked Good Magic to beat Justify and Audible to finish third. And I went with the value at 9-1 and Justify, we know, won, and it came in 7 good, Justify, Good Magic, and Audible. And the trifecta for $2 paid $280, which, $140 for $1. The Exacta paid just under $40. There's some pretty good value there if you can find it. And yeah, it's a 20-horse field.
Hey, Eddie, Johnny Avello, how are you?
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, how are you, man? Nice to talk to you.
You too. It's been a while. I've been betting the Derby a long time, and I know you have. And I always look for a price in the Derby. And over the last 6 years or so, it's been all favorites. And, I ran a future book for many years and actually got destroyed on most of those years because, the horses that in September that I had in my future book, half of them were getting to the Derby, which was very unusual. So the way that these favorites have been winning, do you think it changes the bettor's mindset, to see all these favorites and now instead of looking for a 12 or 20-1 horse, we're more concentrating on the favorites now? And why are the favorites? Why is this happening? Do you have a reason for that?
Yeah, no, a couple of great questions, Johnny. I think first off, with the favorites, I think it goes in cycles. I really do. And when you look at the horses that have won here recently, I mean, we've had 2 Triple Crown winners. Enough said. You get a horse like California Chrome. So I just think that the best horses have been able to arrive Derby week and run to what they've been able to accomplish up until that point. It goes in cycles. I think it's like anything else, whether it's favorites in footballs on Sunday or favorites in hockey or road teams come playoff time in hockey. I mean, sometimes it just goes like that. And I think as far as the futures aspect of it and people looking at it and then betting the favorite, there's no doubt. I mean, people gravitate to favorites and they gravitate to names. And Bob Baffert's got 3 horses, and all 3 of his horses are going to take money. I mean, they're all going to take money, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them all be the same, around the same odds, 6-7 to 1, improbable game winner, and of course Roadster. But you guys know this. Last year I think they bet just over $68 million in the win play show pool. 38 million of it was in the win pool. People do gravitate to favorites, but you also have that other money where you have people that watch horse racing one time for 2 hours on a Saturday, the first Saturday in May. And there's a lot of that money, I don't know what the proper terminology to use is, but you got a lot of inexperienced money coming into the pool. And a lot of it is, going to My Boy Jack or Long Range Toddy or, for the guys, the big handicappers, they don't mind that at all. I've had a friend tell me he's been telling me this for the last 25 years, and I've seen his tickets, and he finds that the best day to be a show player, and I'm not a show player. I do jump in every once in a while when I see bridge jumpers, but he says Derby Day is the best day if you like somebody to go ahead, and that's when you take your shot on going into the show pool. And you look at the show prices over the course of the last 10 years, you'd be shocked at what some of these horses have paid to show. And look, somebody's going to bet 1,000 or 10,000, or somebody that's really into it and bet 25 or 50,000. What's wrong with turning that money into what's wrong with turning 25,000 into 53,000 or 55,000? All you need for is the horse to hit the board. So I think there's a lot there, but I do think that the average handicapper, the average horse player will gravitate more towards the favorite. And then you have all that, that inexperienced money that comes in that bets names and bets numbers and bets jockeys and bets stories. And that's why you get some 38 million, 39 million into the win pool. And somebody that goes in there and bets 10,000 to win like Brent does, it's not going to affect the odds, right? That's not going to happen.
There you go. Yes. Eddie Olczyk is our expert, brought to you by ExpressBet. Eddie, my man, thanks so much. And have a great weekend. We'll all be watching, obviously, from Churchill Downs. Can't wait to see that board when you put your trifecta up, lad.
I gotta try. Look I've already got people. All right. Well, what do you got for me this year? I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Look if I could bat 300 for the year, I'd be really, really happy. And you guys know this, being horse players. If you could pick 3 outright winners every 10 races, you're doing pretty good. But to hit the trifecta on Derby Day in a 20-horse field, hopefully that wasn't my swan song. So hopefully this isn't my last Derby if my 3 horses end up coming in 18th, 19th, and 20th. But all I'll do is I'll just flip upside down the results chart, and I go, hey, look at this. This is not bad. My horses ended up on top 1, 2, 3. So hopefully we'll get people to make some money like last year. And I do believe this, though. I will say this, if I can, real quick. I do believe if it is a fast track, I think there is a chance for a horse, north of 30 to 1 to hit the board. I really do. And one horse that I'm looking at is Long Range Toddy, the 18 horse. I mentioned him a little bit earlier. if it is fast, he's certainly going to be on my tickets.
Great. Eddie, thanks a lot, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Okay, guys. Have a great day.
Take
Thanks.
care, Ed.
It's always great catching up with Eddie Olczyk. And, of course, Omaha Beach, the favorite in the Kentucky Derby. But the other big story is Bob Baffert. He has won this race 5 times. Let's go back to Ron Flatter in Louisville.
Brent, certainly the racing motif on a lot of businesses around here in Louisville, right across the street from the racetrack. You see Racing Silks in the window. And certainly the number 12 horse is Omaha Beach. He'll be the favorite, but there'll be 3 Bob Baffert horses in here. There'll be Game Winner, there'll be Improbable, and there'll be Roadster. And they'll all be fairly short priced. Are there any super horses for Baffert? Well, what's he think?
I think I have 3 nice horses, and I'm used to bringing in like standouts like Justify and American Pharoah, but they're good horses. They need to move forward. They can't win the Derby. They have to move significantly forward, and that's what I'm hoping for. They're good. They're not standouts. A lot of us, I'm not sure who's going to get the mile and a quarter. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one and see what happens. I have good seats. I'm set.
Brent, we know that Game Winner has a win on the track at Churchill Downs. That was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year. Roadster coming off the throat surgery after the Del Mar Futurity. He's looked good since. And Improbable will take the blinkers off for the 145th Kentucky Derby. Brent?
Good seat indeed for Mr. Baffert. So, Johnny Avello and Vinny Maiulo, where should all of our good friends put their money on this year's Kentucky Derby?
Well, Brent, I mean, I'm gonna think back to the 1999 Women's World Cup and the late Tony DiCicco. If you recall, the game went to PKs, and Tony DiCicco put the shooters out there, the players out there. And one of them was, of course, Mia Hamm, the greatest scorer of her day. And she did not want to take. She said, "Tony, I can't. I don't want to. I'm terrible at PKs." He said, "If you think I'm going down and be the guy that does not use the greatest score of all time in this situation, you're out of your mind. You're taking a PK." To me, you've got to use Bob Baffert. I think Eddie hit on it. I think every one of our guests have done the same, including Ron Flatter. So for me, up top, Omaha Beach and Game Winner. I'm very high on Game Winner, and then underneath, Improbable, Tacitus. Maximum Security is also getting a lot of respect from people that I respect in terms of racing, handicapping, and Game Winner for me, as I said.
How about you, Johnny?
Sit back and relax. That's a man who's won 5 derbies, Brett, really. Sit back and relax. He's got 3 horses that are the top 5 of the race, and he's saying, well, I'm not so sure they got to move forward. I'm going to sit back and relax. Wow, that's crazy.
And he's got good seats.
He's got good seats.
The only 2 horses, Johnny and Vinny, that I always throw out, post position 1 and post position 2, because a cavalry charge from the outside really shuts them down. So that would eliminate War of Will and Tax. The number 3 horse, we've had some guys who come on here who handicap horses all the time, and they like By My Standards, trained by Brett Calhoun, okay? Won the Louisiana Derby, has trained very well leading up to the Derby. Now, you can be unimpressed with the Louisiana race if you want to, but By My Standards is going to be a price. And so, Johnny and Vinny, I'm going to make sure that I include him in the exotics that I come up with.
And Brent, and you're going to get a price. Now, the morning line at 20, is he going to go off it? Probably not, because I think, as you indicate, there's a lot of respected opinions back in this horse. But sure, and again, you've got to throw in some double-digit horses in there.
I like the horse. He's at a Golden Sense. Golden Sense was more of a horse that could run a mile and a quarter, but was more suited for a mile and an eighth. Now, Brent, when I look at his numbers, they're pretty good. I project him to run like a 3 on a Thoroughgraphs, which is probably somewhere around 7th or 8th best. And then I project him to run on the other sheets. Let's see, he's probably about the same, 7th, 8th best. So, you can only handicap so much, on what you think's going to happen. But if you're looking for prices, you're going to have to take a chance and kind of go in a different direction. Sure, everybody can look at the Baffert horses, Omaha Beach. Sure, they all figure to be there. But if you want to get paid and you want to cash a telephone ticket on a trifecta, you got to go a little deeper. You got to take a chance.
Absolutely. And I hope everybody takes a good chance. Inside the Derby, presented by ExpressBet. And don't forget, if you go up and sign up using the code Brent200, you will be eligible for our free trip here to the South Point in Las Vegas. You get 2 nights right here and a bonus of $750 to enjoy the weekend during the week before the Preakness. Good luck with your Kentucky Derby winners, everybody, with Vinny Maiulo, John Avello. I'm Brent Musburger saying so long, everybody. Have a great weekend. It's Inside the Derby, presented by ExpressBet. You can listen to VSiN on SiriusXM Channel 204 and follow us online at vsin.com and on Twitter at VSiN Live.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
Attention serious horse players, this is a pop-up edition of the Ron Flatter Mini Racing Pod, the Kentucky Derby Preview, with Patrick McQuiggan.
It's such a fantastic race. Think about it. It's 144 years of history of this race. I get excited for this time of year, the Kentucky Derby.
Dave Tooley.
We're all trying to find the winner here, but trying to build those exotic tickets are just as important because the payoffs are always huge just because of all the mathematical possibilities with the 20-horse field.
Vinny Maiulo.
There's great value. Everybody gets involved. It could be the casual fan to the more sophisticated fan. And the reason that it has that appeal is because of the size of the field.
The four of us will go through all 20 horses in the Derby field, one by one, and you can hear it right now. The pop-up edition of the Ron Flatter Racing Pod, available through Apple, Google, Stitcher, and at vsin.com/podcasts. Sponsored by ExpressBet.
Taming the briar patch, mowing the lawn, or trimming Yeti, whatever you call it. It's about time we all talked about manscaping. 9 out of 10 women of all ages prefer their guy manscaped. But you gotta have the right tools for the jewels. Pop over to manscaped.com. Check out their perfect package, the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0. That was a smash hit on Shark Tank. It features the Lawn Mower, a precision trimmer engineered for below-the-waist grooming. Its skin-safe technology means no more accidental nicks and burns. Check out the Lawn Mower and the amazing grooming and hygiene products that come with your perfect package. Get 20% off plus free shipping today. Visit manscaped.com. Use the promo code BETS. Again, use promo code BETS at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com.
North America's premier horse race, the Kentucky Derby, takes place this Saturday at historic Churchill Downs. And if you're interested in betting the races, ExpressBet is the only way you'll want to play. Sign up for a new account today to receive a $200 sign-up bonus and download ExpressBet's free Kentucky Derby wager guide. Visit expressbet.com/Brent and use promo code Brent200 to claim your bonus. That's promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent. Must be 18 or older to open an account with ExpressBet LLC and reside in the state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.